Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of What the Hell Am I Making This Time? Today, we are making a rolled egg omelet with mixed vegetables and, of course, bacon bits and a side of bison. Um, we have already prepared, cut up our peppers, mushrooms, onions. In the bowl is some diced tomatoes um, because I'm lazy, and we're going to just warm them up a little bit. At this point, we've added butter to the pan and we're just going to let that melt down a little bit more. We're going to add all these vegetables to it and just saute them up. All right, as the vegetables are doing their thing in the butter, we're going to start getting our eggs together here. So for this particular pan, it's a Japanese style omelet, I guess is what it's called. We're going to use 5 eggs. You can use 6, but then it starts getting a little big and a little awkward. And you want to be careful just how much crap you put in this thing, because if it gets too big or too thick, it won't roll very nicely. So when you cut your vegetables, try to cut them fairly small. That way you can layer them in and it won't affect the rolling process. So we're going to crack these eggs. Look at that fancy shit right there. One hand. That's right. I'm fancy. We're going to scramble those up. Now, you can add milk to these if you'd like. I personally do not add milk to my eggs. All right, we started off with 4 eggs here. I'm just going to scramble those up in the measuring cup real quick. I screwed up my original camera angle for that, so you don't actually get to see me put the first bit in. What I did though, in this pan, I put a very thin layer of egg in. And once that cooks, I kind of bunch it up into a line. That line is going to serve as the core of the omelet. And then behind it, we add a little bit more egg. Let it spread around, because again, we're keeping the layers thin. At this point, I realized I needed another egg. So here we go. I underestimated the amount of egg I was going to need. So I don't use milk in my eggs. I like to scramble them and cook them without milk. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. So we're going to start lightly adding the vegetables to the bit of this. Remember what I said? You need a thin layer, because a thick layer will cause this thing to rip open. Okay, a little vegetable, a little cheese, because of course it's going to be cheese. Paying attention to this thing, so you got that roll going there now. So you roll it and then you slide it to the side. Tilt it up, let the excess egg kind of get back into that crack down below, and then add more egg to fill up the gaps. And basically just rinse and repeat until we get to the end of the eggs and everything. All right, for the next few minutes, we are going to be layering the vegetables in, layering the cheese in. I'm going to be rolling this thing up. If you don't want to watch, you want to skip ahead a little bit, go to 8 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, remember what I said about the egg being able to break if you add too much stuff to it? If you look, if you happen to notice, there was a little bit of a flap on the left-hand side. Put too much in, I rolled it, and it broke. It's an egg, it's forgiving, don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal. Alright, so we're almost ready to plate this egg, so fine china has come out. What I do is I put a little, I don't know, a little layer, a little nest of cheese on it, because that's what I set the omelet on. And at this point, we're just going to, see where it broke on me? At this point, damn it. At this point, we're just going to let the thing cook a little bit. We want the edges to brown up. And remember, if it's a little wet inside, don't worry about it when you roll it. If it's a little wet, don't worry about it, because it will cook. All right, we're getting to the point where the egg is browning on the sides, and we're going to cut into the meat. And this is the part where I realized that I did not cook the bison long enough. So it's going to be a little pink in there, even according to my standards, it's a little too rare. There you go. Yeah. So we're just going to put that off to the side for a second. And we're going to go grab the pan off to the side. We're going to put it back on the burner. And we're going to heat it back up. Unceremoniously dump the meat back in the pan. Alright, so as the butter is heating back up, we're going to finish with the egg in the pan. So as you can see, the front is nice and brown. The back is nice and brown. So it is time to take this thing off the pan and put it on your cheese. All right, focusing back on the meat, we are going to slice this up into thin slices so that it will cook quickly. All right, now that we're about done slicing the meat, we're going to let this thing cook real quick. All right, while we're waiting for the meat to cook, we put another dusting of cheese on top of the omelets, and now we're going to add some tomato to it. Now we're going to start flipping the meat over, and as you can see, it is cooked on the other side. So we're going to flip all the meat over, and then we're going to shut the burner off and let the meat finish cooking. right, at this point, the meat is done cooking, so we are going to take it out of the pan and we're going to put it back on the plate. We need to keep the plate off the burner though, because we don't want it to continue cooking. All right, now that the meat's transferred, we're going to put some on the plate because we are now done. And I want to thank you for watching another episode of What the Hell Am I Cooking This Time? And I hope you try this recipe and let me know how it goes. And incidentally, that bison came out phenomenal. Even though I fucked up in the beginning, it came out great. All right, till next time.